Relations. This here is just a quick snapshot of the governmental funds balance sheet. So you have the different types of funds, your general fund, which is your main operating fund, your special revenue funds, your debt service funds, and your capital projects funds. If you are interested in more detailed information, there is the non-major combining statements that are towards the back of the financial statements. In addition, there are the general fund and the 2023 construction funds are the major funds of the district, so you'll find that towards the beginning of the statements. Here's the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance specifically for the general fund. This kind of gives a 4-year look back, if you will. You can see revenues increased from 21, 22, and 23, and then you'll see a decrease in 24, 25. This is largely the effect of the response due to COVID. We received several federal funding throughout those first 3 years, and then now we're starting to see that plateau and kind of level off. Expenditures, you'll see, have increased significantly over the last 4 years, part in due to that additional revenue that was received and spent, but also you'll see that the students have increased, the population has increased. So fiscal year 24 to 25, we saw an increase of 283 students, give or take some. Here's the general fund revenue by source. So most of the sources came from state sources that could be unrestricted through your foundation allowance. In addition, you'll see restricted state sources that came through for operating specific programs. Next is the local sources that makes up your property taxes, things like your admissions, tuition, any donations that was given by the public. Inter-district sources, so if Clarkston provides specific services to other districts, you'll see inter-district sources come through as payment for those services. And then lastly, federal sources. General fund expenditure by function. So the two main functions that we see here, the instruction and supporting services. Generally, the benchmark for these are 30 to 40% for supporting services, and then anywhere between 50 and 60% for instruction. So Clarkston is falling within those ranges, with the exception of instruction just slightly above that 60% range. I would argue that's a good thing, as you are meeting the needs of the district in an instructional capacity. Here's the general fund balance with the 5-year trend. So as I had mentioned, you see an increase as a result of those federal monies coming in, and now you're seeing it plateau and fall off. While at the same time, you are servicing more students in the district, so you are seeing a bit of a decrease in your fund balance here. Yeah.
Is there a significant carryover from 22, 23, 24, 25 of COVID funds that also contributes to audit balances?
So there wasn't much in like deferred funds. What is spent or what is received typically gets spent. But then you can request reimbursement for more each year. So it's likely that the allowance or the allocation for that given year was more, and more was spent at that time. So it also depends on when they budget for specific expenditures. So then the second element of our audit, the federal compliance audit, or what we call the single audit, this looks specifically at the major programs of the district. We gave a clean or unmodified opinion for each major program at the district. We did not find any issues with internal controls over those specific programs that we tested. And in addition, we provide a in relation to opinion. So the schedule of expenditures of federal awards were fairly stated in relation to the financial statements as a whole. So you'll see on, yes. I'm going to have to get back to you on that one. I don't know the specific answer to that question right now. So I can give you a response, or do you want to answer that? No, so it's not submitted until December.
No,
1st or January 1st?
typically you have a schedule of federal award, also part of the audit, it's a separate booklet. We haven't received that yet. No school district has received it yet due to the federal shutdown. We can't file our federal stuff yet until the federal shutdown is complete. So we don't have that part of our audit done yet.
Okay, yes, the audit was completed, but we can't upload to the government until shutdown is over. Hopefully soon. I did finish that one. Okay, so then this is just a quick snapshot of the federal compliance audits that we performed. So total federal expenditures were $4.3 million for fiscal year 25. There were 2 Type A programs identified, so that is there were $750,000 or more of expenditures for each of these programs. So the 2 identified were the Special Education Cluster, or IDEA, and the Child Nutrition Cluster. The major program that we tested was the IDEA. That makes up 46% of the total federal expenditures during the year. So any given year we have to test 40% or more. So that made up enough. We were able to just do the one. And no audit findings were reported. So as I had mentioned, the Education Stabilization Fund, Emergency Connectivity Funds, those are both COVID-related funding. Those were major programs last year. They were not this year, so you're seeing, again, that level off. And then lastly is the letter to the Board of Education. This is required communication to governance, so it's not a result of any issues or irregularities that we found during the audit. If there were issues or if there were changes to the planned scope of the audit, if we had any disagreements or difficulties encountered during the audit, that would be provided in that letter. You will find it's very boilerplate language because we did not have any issues. And then lastly, we provide a little bit of information on that ending fund balance for the general fund. It made up approximately 22% of the 25-26 budgeted expenditures. We generally suggest around 10 to 15%, so you're above that range, giving you a good buffer going into next year or into the current year. And then lastly, that tells us that there's stable operating funds and there will be no need for short-term borrowings to meet cash flow needs. Are there any other questions?
Thank you. Are there any questions from anyone in the audience? Comments? Any more questions from the board? Okay, thank you very much. I will call the public hearing to close. 6:54, we'll take a short recess and then we'll get to our regular meeting. Thank you. We'll call to order the meeting of the Clarkston Board of Education. If you could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mrs. McLean, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. McGinnis.
Here.
Mrs. Egan. Here. Mr. Clark.
Here.
Mr. Heyer.
Here.
Mrs. Love. Here. Mr. Need.
Here.
Mrs. Crane.
Here. Thank you, Mrs. McLean. Item 1.3 is the reading of the public statement. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community hearing. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in agenda items 3 and 9. Item 2 is approval of the consent agenda. May I have a motion, please?
I move the Board of Education approves the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion made and supported. As an item on agenda requires a roll call vote, Mrs. McLean, may I please have a roll call vote?
Mr. Clark.
Yes.
Mrs. Love.
Yes.
Mr. Need.
Yes.
Mrs. Egan.
Yes.
Mrs. McGinnis.
Yes.
Mr. Heyer.
Yes.
Mrs. Crane.
Yes. Thank you. Item 3 is citizens' request to address the board. Item 3 is the first opportunity for citizens to address the board. You are given 2 opportunities to address the board. Under this item, item 3.1, you can request to address the board about any topic that is on tonight's agenda. Under item 9, you are welcome to address the board on any topic. When making comments, please state your name and address. Direct your comments here to the board president. Each person may speak for up to 2 minutes. Per established procedures, the board will not respond to questions or interact with the speaker during public comment, although we may refer the matter to the appropriate person in the district for further follow-up. Is there, Mrs. Rogers, would you mind going and looking to see if anyone has signed up for me, please? I didn't want to disturb Nori. Okay, thank you. Item 4 is our superintendent update. I will turn it over to Dr. Ryan.
Thank you. Good evening, community. First and foremost, nice to see a nice crowd this fine winter evening as it feels here in Clarkston. The transition happens so briskly, so quickly, and we're now at the end of fall and onto winter, but lots of things to warm our hearts with. First of all, this past weekend and a half ago, the Clarkston High School marching band played at Ford Field, and within their flight, in their grouping within the state of Michigan, achieved 7th place under a really, really competitive night. I was there to be able to cheer them on directly. They did an amazing job, and I just want to say thank you to all the parents and to our staff, the support of those students, and for those students who literally played their hearts out that evening. So my hat's off to the marching band, and we look forward to their continued success. And congratulations to all. Also to our varsity football team this past weekend who played Grand Blanc in the second round of the playoffs and were victorious. They're going to be carrying this Friday against Detroit Catholic Central here at 7 p.m. as they continue on the road towards the state finals. We're really proud of them as they've continued to kind of march down through the season and continue to improve, and we really expect some really exciting community get-together. It's always wonderful on any night where you can have 7,000 to 10,000 of our community kind of show up and make some noise for Clarkston. So it's really exciting. Also this evening, I'm pleased to share with you that we have some amazing project boards that are around the room. These were created by educator extraordinaire at the high school, Jessica Cleland's IB class at Clarkston High School. Students interviewed various community members and business owners regarding quote-unquote life in Clarkston. So they were able to capture some really big ideas and really kind of share some flavor of our community. Feel free at some point or in the middle of the meeting if you want to be able to peruse and take a look at those. We're really proud, and the students did an excellent job, so we thank them. And also this evening, I'm excited to hear from Clarkston Junior High School teacher Allie Dennis and some of her students about the Pack Press, the junior high school's newspaper class. They've published an amazing online version, and their experiences with the Humans of Clarkston edition. We really want to welcome everybody, and it really kind of captures it so professionally well done. And our communications department was like very much in awe at the level of and caliber of the students in terms of what they're putting together. So obviously great things happening inside and outside the Clarkston classrooms, and we're excited as we progress into the heart of the school year. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ryan. Which brings us to item 5 is our presentation items, and item 5.1 is that presentation on the Clarkston Junior High School PAC Press. I will turn it over to Ms. Dennis, please. Thank you.
All right, hello. Thanks for having us tonight. I'm here with some of my students if they want to introduce themselves.
I'm Consetta Rose de Blasi. I'm McKenna Glover. I'm Paisley Coleman.
Do I just switch it with this?
Yes.
All right. So this is our lovely staff writer team, and we have 18 staff writers. We have one editor-in-chief, which is Caitlin Perlin, and we consist of the CJHS newspaper, and we call ourselves the PAC Press. And this is a new class that we just started at the junior high school this year, and we've already seen a lot of success with the stories that they're writing and the people that they're able to interview. So if you guys are able to talk through maybe one of your favorite articles that you've written so far, but we write a variety of pieces. We do news, arts and entertainment, sports, features, and opinion. And this is just a little screenshot of what our site looks like at the moment. So we have it divided up into different modes of writing that they're able to do, and we have pictures, and then we have the staff profile section, but maybe you guys can talk a little bit about one of your favorite articles besides the Humans of Clarkston.
One of my articles that I'm the most proud of is my article about the Powder Puff game. I really enjoyed writing it, and I have a couple friends that were on the team for juniors and seniors, and it was a really fun experience for me to be there at the game, and I really like writing, and it's a passion of mine to write, and I just love being able to write about things that I'm passionate about, and that's like my friends, and I love being with my friends, and I'm able to write about them and share them with everyone else that reads the articles.
One of my favorite articles was the one that I wrote about internet safety and how important it is to understand like how careful you have to be on the internet and the risks of being like kind of ignorant while using the internet. And I just want more people to be aware of the dangers of the internet, and our school also has a lot of posters and things like that just to be aware of internet safety.
My favorite article that I probably wrote was about Mr. Ritchie, who is like the Easter Seals worker at our school. It was really fun, like getting to realize why he does his job, and like also sharing like his like what he does, and that people can go to him if they need help in it. Like the Easter Seals morgue like got a hold of it, which was really like cool, and they posted it on all of their socials, which was really nice.
Yeah, and they put it in their newsletter, which was amazing. And then recently we just finished up Humans of Clarkston, so I had my students go walk downtown to different businesses in downtown and try to see people, although it was during second hour, which is when our class is, and first hour, so there weren't that many residents out at 7:30 in the morning, but luckily, we had some people who we were able to speak to inside of Honcho, and then a couple people in the park they were able to interview as well. But basically, I base this off of Brandon Stanton's Humans of New York, and he goes around New York City and he interviews residents, and he makes people feel like they're not just a number and that they have a story worth telling, no matter who they are at any age. And so I wanted my students to be able to experience interviewing people outside of the school setting. They're doing an amazing job interviewing teachers, students within our high school, our junior high school, but I wanted them to be able to branch out so they can tell you a little bit about who they interviewed.
Someone I interviewed was Barb Rush. She created Scamp. And I think it was really interesting to hear her perspective on why she created it and her goals of creating the organization. And it was interesting to hear her story and how she came to the idea of SCAMP.
So me and McKenna both interviewed our deputy clerk and
It was the clerk of.
for voting.
Yeah, they are in charge of like organizing the voting, and you talk to them if you need to discuss like taxes or something with your house. And I thought it was really important that we let everyone know that these two wonderful women are in our community, and they're always here to help us, and they're just like right by Depot Park, and they were really sweet, and I really liked getting to know them.
Yeah, they were very welcoming, and it was just overall a good like vibe and just energy that we got.
All right, so they conducted those interviews, and then they also took photos of each of those residents, and then they turned those interviews into mini feature stories that are published on our school news site right now under feature stories. And then we're going to start taking those photos and interviews and kind of Humans of New York style. We'll be printing that off with the QR codes to the articles, and they'll be doing a display at the Clarkston Independence Library, so that will be up shortly as well. So pretty exciting stuff, and we'll be doing that again with second semester class too in the springtime, and hopefully it'll be a little warmer this time when we go downtown. And then lastly, we would encourage anybody in this room and anyone else reading our PAC Press to add some comments onto the articles that you find enjoyable or you have questions about, or you encourage them to keep writing in this type of mode, whether that's opinion or feature stories. This was just from a resident we saw that he said, "A wonderful and well-written piece. Thank you for sharing this story. Keep up the great work." So I think that's really important that they know that people are reading. Of course, there's classmates are reading it, but I think it's really amazing to see other community members engaging with it as well. I don't know if you have any questions for us, but that's
Does
all we
anyone on the
have for
board
you.
have any questions or comments? Mrs. Egan?
So online, we just go to pacpress.com, is that it?
Yeah, it's cjhsnewspaper.com.
Okay.
Yeah, which is right there.
Is there anybody else?
I think you guys are doing a really good job. It's
Yeah.
impressive.
Thank you. Do you guys actually have any kind of like e-blast one? Is it an edition, or are you guys just putting articles out on the website? Is it?
We publish on a weekly basis.
Okay.
So students are constantly updating different types of articles, and our next, like we just finished the Humans of Clarkston edition, and then they just finished their choice articles, and then they're working on a second article right now. But we've already published over 115 articles. So.
Just this semester already?
Yes.
That's wonderful. How many staff are you? You said 18? Wow, congratulations. Girls, thank you guys so much for coming. I don't know if you all meant to do it, but the fact that you're all wearing pink is kind of the solidarity. I love it.
Wasn't planned, but we love it. Yeah, it kind of matches the
It
slide.
just worked. So,
Madam President?
yes,
Let me make a comment. if
Mrs.
I may.
McGinnis.
I wanted to make just a comment that I think visually speaking, your page looks beautiful. It's very balanced. I love the color. I love your header. The center article, The Essence of Clarkston right now, I think is the picture itself is very captivating. It really like draws you in and wants you to peruse even more. So I think your placement of your articles and your pictures is really well done. And I hope that, and then the True Giver right below it, again, I think is just a great human visual that's drawing people in on your page. So I say great work to it, and hope that maybe you're considering being a journalist as you continue through your high school education here and move forward. So great job.
Yeah, thank you. I've always loved Humans of New York. I follow it religiously. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see when they did the 2-week Grand Central Station and Lin-Manuel Miranda played on the grand piano at the last day. It's quite moving to watch, but I love that you guys are doing a little bit of that here in Clarkston, so thank you very much for coming. I think I had asked Dr. Ryan to start bringing students back into our board meetings, and I feel like you knocked it out of the park with the board. Mrs. McLean, thank you, and having you guys here. I very much appreciate you spending some of your Monday evening with us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, item 5.2 is a construction update. Mr. Goodman.
Good evening. We have representatives from AUK and GMB tonight. Just a reintroduction. This is Tom. No, where's Tom? This is Mitch Dizer with GMB, Joe Britton with AUK, Danielle Essner with AUK, and Tom is back there. So Tom's just going to evaluate. So we're going to give a little walk through a presentation with Mitch, talk about the projects that we're intending to do next summer, and then give you a little progress update on the junior high, and then AUK is here to kind of give a little more detail in the project update of the junior high as far as the construction side of it. So feel free to ask any questions as we walk through this.
All right, well, thank you, Wes. Thank you to the board for some time this evening to present to you, and we'll get right into it. So first up on the project list is the updates to the transportation building. So that floor plan on the top slide is the existing floor plan for your reference of the current layout. We all toured that together back last spring or early in the summer, I believe, and we all got to experience kind of some of the challenges they have at that building where visitors have to come in through the garage, which isn't the most safe or secure way. The staff lounge spaces are split apart, so there's no place where all those drivers and staff members can gather together, and it's just not a very functional layout for that very essential group of people here for the district. So down on the next page, you can see the updated and proposed layout that we're getting ready to hand over to AUK for bidding purposes in the coming month or so. And it's a much more effective layout for what they're going to be doing. So now there's an entry directly into the office space from the exterior through a secure vestibule. There is conferencing space, there's adequate bathroom facilities for the drivers, and a much larger gathering and lounge space at the rear of the office area, kind of highlighted in yellow, for all those drivers with direct access out to the bus parking lot. So much more functional layout. Office has much better visibility and access to the front of who's coming and going, and I think it'll be a kind of a great improvement from where they are right now. Last component of the work here is there's also going to be a new bus lift added in the garage as well to replace some of the aging infrastructure there that's not functioning quite well. Here's a little bit different view of that layout to give you a kind of a 3D visual of what those spaces look like. Again, kind of in the top corner is that large staff and driver lounge, and then down at the bottom corner, the front, is the more office spaces where you come in and where visitors will be coming in. Then we have a few interior views to give you a sense of what the space will feel like. This view is standing in the hallway, kind of looking in towards the office space. This is where drivers will walk through every day as they come in to pick up their mail and things down in those mailboxes down at the end on their way to their lounge. Some interior views of the office space for the transportation garage staff. And then some views of that driver space at the end of the building. Again, space for them to have their lunch, have their training sessions, and a space for them to gather. And then here's one last view of that space as well. All right, any questions on transportation before we move on to the next project? All right, so that takes us on to the high school. We have a number of things going on over actually 2 summers, so the scope you're going to see is enough, and AUK can speak to this as well, that the work will be going on over 2 summers, so both the summer of 26 and the summer of 27 to complete all this work. In broad strokes, we can see there's some site work happening. The areas highlighted in blue are areas that are getting repaved, so those are parking lots that are getting replaced. And then the tennis courts are also getting replaced with new post-tension tennis courts that should be very durable long-term for them. On the building itself, there's a few colors highlighted as well. The items in orange and light orange are roof replacements that will be ongoing. And then the items highlighted in green are the mechanical, we call them penthouse units that sit on the roof, and they house all of the air handling equipment, boilers, that sort of thing that serve large portions of the school. And those are all getting swapped over the next 2 years as well. Those existing units have been on there since the start of, or since the building was constructed, running into some issues maintaining them, some issues with long-term maintenance with the technologies that were in those, and it's just time to swap those out and get new ones in there as well. And you should see some efficiency and reduced maintenance requirements with that equipment change. Right. And then the last element of the scope at the high school is a facade replacement or a partial facade. We call the material ephes, and it's kind of a stucco type material that has insulation behind it. The image on the left, you can see of your existing building some of the damage. That's pretty typical of what's happening in many areas of the facade of the building, where it's starting to fall apart and delaminate. So part of the project will be to replace all of that material with metal panels instead. And those metal panels should be much more durable and long-lasting than what we've gotten out of the ephes to date. And so the rendered images on this slide and the next few slides are just giving you a sense of what the building will look like after the ephes is replaced. We're sticking with very similar colors to what it is now, so there won't be a very dramatic change when you're driving by, but hopefully a lot of those cracked and peeling and damaged panels will obviously all be replaced and gone.
Madam President, I have a question, please.
Yes, Mrs. McGinnis.
Is the ephes being removed completely? Is there water damage behind it, or are you putting the new finish over the top of it?
It is getting removed completely. So any problems with the material itself will be handled when it's gone, and then the new system going in its place is a new insulated metal panel system to maintain the building envelope.
Do you know if there's any water damage behind any areas? Have you seen any visible trace of it?
We've only seen visible water damage in 1 or 2 spots in the building, and that's planned to be addressed with the project.
Okay,
Yes.
and the reason I ask is the ephes, being that it's styrofoam behind it, does provide adequate insulation. So you're saying that the new metal is also going to be an insulated metal?
Correct. It's an insulated metal panel to replace the insulation that's getting removed when we take the ephes system off the building.
Okay, thanks.
And here's just a few more views of the front of the building. And there is some of this material around some of the classroom windows as well, that kind of T-shape at all the classroom windows, so that is getting replaced as part of the project too. Great. Any questions on all of that at the high school? It is a fair amount of work for all of that, and it's just not feasible to get it done while students are in the building, so we're breaking it up over the 2 summers to get it done. All right, last up in the presentation are just updates to the junior high. Obviously, we celebrated opening of phase 1 at the earlier this fall, and everyone's getting to use that gym space. But now we're moving into the next phases of construction. So up on the screen is just a reminder of the overall site plan we're working towards and what we'll see at the end of the project for reference. And then I believe on the next slide is just the overall building plan as well, again for reference if we have any questions on that. And then these next are a reminder of how the phasing of the project is working. So this phase 1 sheet showed in the dotted line kind of the area of the gym construction, which has now been completed. And so if we go to step 2 or phase 2, you can now see that gym shown in gray, and the old athletic spaces have been demolished, and that area highlighted by the dotted line is what's under construction currently. So that's the academic spaces of the new junior high, the main office and entry, and some of the support spaces like the media center. You will see that on the next slide of kind of what that completed condition will look like when phase 2 is done. So when phase 2 is complete, the area in the dark blue, that allows us to move on to phase 3, which will be the cafeteria area. And so we'll take down the classroom wing, the existing classroom wing, once that's no longer needed and students have moved into the new classroom wing, and start work on that, that cafeteria zone, as well as on the career tech building. And then the final step will be renovation or replacement, I should say, of the fine arts areas just north or planned north of the auditorium, so that dotted area in above the yellow. I think Joe or anyone else want to speak to some of the details of how the project is going at this point?
So, as Mitch said, Phase 1 was turned over in the fall, and that allowed our Phase 2 area to really kick off after demo of the old gymnasium. So, at this point, foundations are on track to be wrapped up this week into next week. They're demobilizing right now, making room for the steel contractor to start coming in. So as you drive by the site over the next couple of weeks, you'll see a lot of joists and deck getting delivered. That's going to be for the aux gym and the weight room to start, which is the part right next to the existing gym. Those are the walls, if you drive by the site now, that are up, the angled wall, and that is the interior side of the Main Street corridor as well. So masons are going to continue working on that angled wall and then start kind of framing the outside of the building, working their way around to the connecting corridor and then back to the learning stair area of the site in the rear entrance. Steel contractor will be out next week, start setting a lot of loose steel, getting things in place column-wise so the mason can continue their work, and then setting joists. And our goal is by the end of the year, we'll have roofing on the aux gym weight room area so we can mobilize for pouring the slab there, as well as continuing on masonry walls throughout the winter so that we can get our first floor deck on and then start, once the weather warms back up, get some of the pours on the second floor and then keep building up from there. Next summer is going to be, again, a lot of masonry work still, a lot of steel, start going into our interior pours, and then the parking lot on the west side, so that's off Walden and Middle Lake. That is going to be right when school gets out. That whole parking lot is going to get removed and the new layout is going to go in, which will be optimized for the final phase of the building, but that will have multiple drop-off loops, one for Middle Lake and one for Walden Road to keep all that traffic separate, as well as some gates built in. So that all that work, all that underground is going in. And then on the south side of the site, we have started grading for the softball field. So if you drive that way, you'll see all that dirt over there is the softball field. It's pretty much to grade. Site contractor wanted to get that wrapped up before it froze, and then come the spring when he's waiting to do the parking lot, he's going to get back there and start working on that and try to get that as far along as he can before he's going to be doing a lot of underground for a couple weeks in the parking lot. So that is the parking lot that you can see. Or no, we're on the back side. Yep. So yeah, so this parking lot here is where we'll wrap around the front of the building. So pretty much up to the median there and back is all going to be new. Walden, the entrance off Walden by the tennis courts is where our demarcation line is for the replacement.
These last few slides here are just some views of what Phase 2 will look like when it's completed. So this is a view of the new main entry to the junior high, and that corner right there is those windows look into the auxiliary gym to help kind of give people a sense of perspective of where we're standing. And the previous images were of the classroom wing. And then this final image is from the opposite side of the building, looking towards what will be the bus entry for students and kind of the back side of that classroom wing as well.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments? No, all right.
I just think it's incredible that standing right now that there's going to be a roof over it by the end of the year. You know, there's nothing barely, foundation. It's going to be incredible.
Were some of these pictures taken today with the snow? I saw there was snow in some of those. I just saw, I didn't know if those
I think it
were.
was last minute. actually.
Was it? Okay, I wondered. Well, thank you guys for coming tonight. Thank you for always answering our questions. I know Mr. Heyer and Mr. Clark are on the construction committee, but you've always, and Mrs. Egan, thank you. You guys have always been great about taking us on the tours and answering questions. Very much appreciate it. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen and gentlewomen.
Yeah. All right, we will move on to item 6, our action items. Item 6.1 is approval of personnel changes. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves the personnel changes as listed on the attached sheets.
Support.
Are there any questions or discussion? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6.2 is approval of an authorized signatory for district accounts. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves Kirsten Nag as the new signatory for bank accounts and investments for the school district as presented.
Support.
Are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6 is approval of, item 6.3 is approval of debt fund consolidation resolution. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves the debt fund consolidation as presented.
Support.
Are there any questions or discussion about this? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Roll call.
Any opposed? Mrs. McLean, may I have a roll call vote? Sorry, thank you.
It's okay. Mr. Heyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Egan?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mrs. Love?
Yes.
Mrs. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Need?
Yes.
Mrs. Crane?
Yes, thank you. Item 6.4 is approval of the 2024-25 audit. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves the audit for June 30th, 2025 as presented.
Support.
Are there any questions or discussions about this? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6.5 is approval of Miller Johnson as our policy service provider. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves Miller Johnson as the district's new policy service provider.
Support.
Madam President, I would like to make a few comments regarding this.
Please do. Mrs.
Notes
McGinnis.
right here. The policy, as chair of the policy committee, we met several times to discuss this consideration, moving from our current provider, which we've had for a long time, to 2 potential new providers, Miller Johnson being one and Troon being the second. Some of the pros in support of switching to Miller Johnson were a very nice new established relationship that we have with them. Their product did not require us to buy a new server and host and maintain the server. They will have a dedicated link, and they are the server host. They provided more in-depth administration regulations and student handbook for initial review. We felt their presentation, when it came to providing us input regarding this, was far more personal and rather less commercialized, as what I felt personally of the other consideration. And the implementation process, which is going to be lengthy and some work, where we will review every single policy, is done in person. Where the contrary, even though Troon was less, we're going to have to host our own server and maintain the server and the policies and the student handbook. Again, the presentation seemed more mechanical to us. and you would have to log into a virtual group to do your updates rather than sit down person to person and discuss what we think is right for Clarkston. And we would be discussing this with a group of people about what we thought were right for our policies. And a lot of their policy templates in Troon were much more boilerplate than we felt Miller Johnson could provide us. So even though Miller Johnson was going to cost us more, the benefit of not having to host and buy a new server and maintain the documentation, we felt, along with the established relationship, was far more beneficial than the other offer.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? I just want to extend my personal thanks to the policy committee, Mrs. McGinnis, Mr. Clark, Mr. Need. I think, as we all know, we often put our newest board members on the policy committee as a way of learning Clarkston policies. I feel like you've gotten more than that this time, and especially as we're going to be moving over our policies, Mr. Clark. But I also want to thank you guys, as the first board goal that we set this summer is now officially done with this approval. So I really, truly appreciate it. Item has been made and supported. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6.6 is approval of the construction change order at Clarkston Junior High School. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves the construction change orders for Johnson and Sons Excavating in the amount of $81,064, and the change order for G2 Consulting Group in the amount of $94,500 as presented.
Support.
Are there any questions or discussion about this? Mr. Goodman, I think, is still in the audience if there is any questions. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 7 is our report items. Item 7.1 is our monthly finance report. Mrs. Rogers.
Hello. Okay, so this is the financial update. It'll get you through October 31st, 2025. Right now, we're at budget to actual revenues of just over 17%, budget to actual expenditures at 25%. As you know, our audited fund equity ended up at 28.9%, or $97 million, and now our fund equity right now is at $20 million, because we always have a drop right now as we're waiting for revenue to come in from the state and the federal government, because they're so delayed several months from school starting to get those funds. So do we have any questions on the packet that I provided you?
Any questions from the board? Oh, thank you, Mrs. Rogers. Thank you for all of your updates. You've kept us along the whole way, which we appreciate.
So before you move on, though, thinking that not only is this her last monthly finance update, but over her 25-year career. Hold on, Ms. Rogers, please stay up at the podium.
Please, Mrs. Rogers.
Ms. Rogers has been in educational finance for 25 years, and in her 25 years, this marking her final audit as well. And to report on her variances over 25 years with respect to audits, she's had 0 findings. So she's literally has pitched the perfect game for 25 years. And on top of it, her budget variances are extremely, extremely tight over the years. So much so that it goes almost without notice that our numbers are almost always exactly on in the terms of millions of dollars that come into the school district, and that both as revenue and expenditures. Budget is just a term for dollars being put on a page, but actually the art of being able to keep track of it, because it constantly changes. There's variables that, as you saw this year, we didn't even have our financial input from the state until almost midway through our school year. You couple that with the changing variables of enrollment and all the different federal and state grants that come in and out constantly. It's incredibly hard to do the level that she's managed to put through her career. So I know on behalf of our school board, on our community, and myself, Ms. Rogers, we just want to say thank you.
Thank
Nice
you
job.
very much, Mrs. Rogers.
Thanks. It's been a great opportunity for me.
You will be missed. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ryan. Item 7.2 is our MASB Annual Leadership Conference update. Per board policy, anytime we do public professional learning, we like to report out on it. So I would like to take this opportunity, first of all, to thank Dr. Ryan for also coming. We are one of the very few boards in the state of Michigan that always has all 7 of us go, and we do that as a way to learn as much as we can that we can bring back to the district. So I'd like to take this opportunity and ask everyone to kind of maybe give a highlight of the weekend. Mr. Need, are you going to start down at the end?
Sure, I can start. Just before the conference, I attended the annual conference of the Michigan Association of School Board Attorneys, and we learned some updates to the law. Cell phone usage in schools is a big topic. The legislature began but did not adopt anything, so that's still an unresolved issue. There was also a fairly significant Supreme Court case a few months ago dealing with the rights of parents to opt out of certain curriculum on religious grounds. So it was a very informative conference.
Thank you. Mrs. Egan.
Yes. Artificial intelligence seemed to be the hot topic at MASB conference this year, and I participated in breakout sessions titled Board Members, What Can AI Do for You, with Mr. Need. That was basically going over from a board member's perspective some artificial intelligence, prepping for board meetings and doing investigative kind of work on our data. Separately, I attended the high school and beyond breakout session, and I actually used Microsoft Copilot to help me generate a summary of that high school and beyond session, and I'm going to read it. The session explored the current status of students, their historical educational context, and future trajectories, particularly in relation to evolving workforce demands. A key focus was the integration of artificial intelligence and the skill sets students will need to thrive in a rapidly changing market. The discussion emphasized the importance of community involvement, including parents, educators, and students, in understanding and applying AI in educational settings. This collaborative approach aims to better prepare students for post-secondary success and lifelong learning. Overall, the session provided valuable insights into aligning education with future societal and technological needs. So that was my first experience using artificial intelligence. And I think based on the board workshop that we had the last time we were together, it certainly taught me a little bit about my lack of writing skills and how much more robust it can become by using this tool. So that was great. The last thing I want to say is, in my own words, I bought a book. This was one of our keynote speakers, George Couros, and I found him very inspirational. I think Dr. Ryan was there during the time too, so that was great to have the whole team there.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mrs. Egan. Mrs. Love?
There was definitely a time when we all collaborated at the same event, talking about onboarding and team membership. That was definitely my favorite part, and I think Clarkston has a huge strength in not seeing eye to eye on every issue, but we've become an example across the state on collaboration and working as a team, and I thought that was really impressive and definitely my favorite part.
Just since I get to play along too with
Wasn't
the team
gonna ask,
here,
but
I know,
thank
but
you.
one thing just for our community to know, and they won't say it, I was inspired not only by our board, who was fully engaged and literally for 5 days, looking to learn more about their understanding, how to improve a lot for our students, our schools, and our community. But at one point, it was Saturday morning of the conference, and it was I don't know, after 7 a.m. in the morning. It was still dark out like it is right now. There were hundreds and hundreds of school board members all in a session together talking about how to improve education and how to make it better for kids. And I'm thinking to myself as a superintendent, very much that we have 7 volunteers, and then volunteers literally across the state of Michigan that have such a passion and a caring and a drive to help support learning. That early, still dark Saturday morning, far from home, they were still all in and committed. The level of energy in the room was amazing, and I just hand it to our board for their commitment and those individuals across this great state who volunteer their time, their energies to make things happen. It was truly great to be able to spend a couple days with our board that way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ryan. Mrs. McGinnis?
Dr. Ryan, thanks for those comments, because I gonna say that I think this is the best board in the entire state of Michigan. And I don't have a problem saying that. I really don't. So while I know my superintendent believes that of us too, I believe it of us because I know what we do when we're at conference and what we bring back to the district. I also attended the all-day Michigan Council of School Attorneys, which I usually do every year because I kind of wish I should have been an attorney, I think. I also very much enjoyed George Corris's presentation. He's a passionate advocate in education. His biggest message was cultivating innovation within our schools. He dove into transformative educational practices that inspire educators and leaders to create vibrant, empowering learning environments. And I'd like to read a quote from him. "A teacher's influence doesn't stay in school. It goes out into the world and cannot truly be measured. Every student you inspire to do something great goes on to inspire others. There is no limit to your impact." George Corris. Hashtag because of a teacher. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. McGinnis. Mr. Clark?
Overall, I had a great experience there as this was my first one. I attended a fundamentals of school board training class, and I kind of found it that a lot of it was repeat information, and this was a good thing because our school board does such a good job of onboarding that I have not felt lost since I've been here, and that was also noticed by local school board members from Lake Orion that noticed how good of a job that we do, and it was kind of reaffirmed and that we are doing the right things. And there was a lot of good courses to take and clinics to take, such, along with the AI and CTE and grant clinics. So a lot of good training, a lot of good learning, great time with the board, and definitely look forward to the next ones. I think that it was awe-inspiring to see all of what Michigan is doing to help and to better educate our students.
Thank you very much. Mr. Heyer?
I don't have too much to add to the Mutual Admiration Society that we have going here today, but I did attend this session in addition to everything you all mentioned on board culture, and I was hoping that would give us some ideas as Mrs. Crane and I look to tackle that board goal here in the upcoming few months. And so I think it was really great to hear a lot of the same stuff in the general sessions and each attend a variety of different clinic sessions, and it's always good to chat about different perspectives on seeing some of the same information. I think that makes us a better team, and look forward to putting that to work as we tackle our board goals and whatever challenges come up the rest of this year.
Thank you. I got there early. I took 2 CBA classes. One was practical governance, which was a whole bunch of case studies and discussions, networking. It was really interesting to see how other boards tackle it. And like my colleagues have said, I feel like we are already doing so many things right. But I still think you can never stop learning. You can never stop reaching out to try and see if it can be done better. I also took one on conflict resolution. I did a clinic breakout, and I think Mrs. Rogers and Ms. Nag will be proud of me. It was called Beyond the Audit. And it was, I don't know that I would say interesting. I'm so glad you guys find it interesting, but it was very helpful. I will say that for sure. And then I also, one of my favorite parts of the entire weekend, like Mrs. Love, we went to a clinic session on the importance of onboarding, and it was given by our very own Mrs. Kelly Horst, and we all showed up. Little did she know, I think she was shocked, but to then talk about all of us while we're sitting right in front of her and how important it was to onboard, and then it has turned into this board that you see before us. We don't always see eye to eye, We don't always agree on everything, but we have a deep respect for each other, and I think we actually really like each other. So I appreciate all of you very much. So thank you. Anything else on that? No? Okay, item 7.3 is our district safety committee update. Mr. Heyer.
Thank you, Mrs. Crane. I, along with Mr. Need, are on the district safety committee this year, and we did have a meeting. Mrs. Crane and I discussed that as we fulfill our board liaison duties and serve in a variety of capacities, that we should be reporting back to the board at least that it happened, or, you know, something took place, and not in very much detail. So I did want to let you know that we had one of our 2 annual meetings. It's a chance for Independence Township Police and Fire and Springfield Township Police and Fire liaison officers, leadership in those capacities. We invite a variety of community folks together and try to get as many people together as possible. And it's a great chance to really share best practices, what's going on with each respective entity, and you know, the police are always improving their systems, and it's kind of amazing how they don't talk as much as you think they talk outside of the venues that we give them to talk. So it's good that we're the facilitator to bring important community folks together to be able to have those conversations of how does, you know, certain software work, and how does that interface with our protocols of, you know, numbering our doors and our building maps and those kinds of things. And so very educational. I think we fill an important community role in that safety capacity as well, because obviously that is our top priority here as a school district.
Thank you very much. Yeah, one of the things when I took over as president is I really did want, I think as a way to, when we sit on all of these committees, we need to, I think, let each other know and let the public know, you know, what we're doing. And I know, like with policy committee, we see that in our agenda, we see the minutes, so it's nice to get a report out on that. I appreciate it. Okay, item 8 is discussion items. There are none. Item 9 is the second opportunity for citizens to address the board. Citizens are welcome to address the board on any topic at this point on the agenda. I believe I saw someone from the audience signing up, so Mrs. Allen is getting that for me. While she is bringing me the sign-up sheet, I would like to remind everyone that speakers will be limited to those who follow the correct procedure, so please fill out the sign-up sheet as directed. I would also like to remind everyone that calling out individuals in this forum is inappropriate. Personal attacks will not be tolerated. Anyone who engages in criticism of and/or a personal attack of an individual will be prevented from doing so. Please keep your remarks and your attention directed to the full board. I have Mr. Jeff Dellinger. Did I say that right? Dellinger. And thank you for coming tonight, Mr. Dellinger. If you could please state your name and address, and then I will start your 2 minutes.
Jeff Dellinger, 7540 Pearl Lake Road, Clarkston.
Thank you.
My name is Jeff Dellinger. I was banned from Independence Elementary on October 7th. On the 12th, my wife and I emailed a demand letter as well as a formal policy and personnel complaint to Dr. Ryan, but it has gone unanswered. The board president, Ms. Crane, told me to be assured Dr. Ryan will respond directly, but I am here today with no reply. I was banned for a reason that was found to be not true. Dr. Ryan walked that back immediately with a change. I was banned for yelling at a student, which didn't happen. Dr. Ryan then said it was for making derogatory comments about a child. That didn't happen. After Dr. Ryan investigated, he found that it didn't happen. Surprise, surprise. And a third reason of aggressive posturing, which Google defines as having hands on hips or shaking a finger, which I didn't do either. I don't know how many parents have been banned for putting their hands on their hips, but I'd like to think I'm the first. The school's taken no action, ever, despite many emails from my wife and I on the topic of bullying. So when the school's inaction left me no choice but to speak to another parent, and I asked politely that she talk to her child about this bullying behavior of my daughter, I was punished. But to protect who? You determined I never spoke to her about the child, and the mother is not an employee or herself a student of the school. What protection is she offered by the state of Michigan where my rights as a parent can be infringed upon? I have a personnel complaint for Beth Clark. Ms. Clark spent 26 years as a police officer, and she did not learn how to do a fair or impartial investigation. Her laziness led to a snap decision to ban me from my daughter's school for a reason that was found to be untrue. She should be fired. She has no business working for Clarkston Schools, and she should be ashamed of herself for the lazy, sloppy, incompetent police work that she has performed.
Hey, Mr. Dellinger, your 2 minutes are up, please. Thank you very much. All right, items 10 are our information items. The next Board of Education meeting is Monday, December 8th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Item 11 is adjournment. May I have a motion, please?
I move to adjourn.
Support.
Oh, sorry, very quickly, yes. I was talking to Mrs. McLean, Board, about adding a meeting on December 15th. Time to come, but more information on that to come as well. Sorry about that. Item 11 is adjournment. May I have a motion, please?
I move to adjourn.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned.